Well, good morning. Again, it's 8:45, and I noticed that it has started to snow. So I'm heading out to my appointment way early so that I can get down there and be on time for that, because it doesn't matter after I'm done there if it takes me a while to get back. As you can see, it just started because it's kind of patchy as far as being on the sidewalks and in the streets and stuff. Streets are usually warmer. Morning. So it won't stick there quite as quickly as it does, obviously, on these sidewalks right here. But I wanted to make sure that I got down for my appointment, because I don't like rushing. So, since I'm live, and I'm not Memorex, I know, old joke. Old man for an old joke. And I bet the tracks that I leave and what little snowfall is out here right now just drives people nuts, because there's 3 tracks that are all symmetrical and line up real close to one another. Without having a rear, like a 2-wheel bike has got. Man, there's a jogger in front of me a little bit. See that by the footprints. And, let me stop and I don't know if you guys can see that or not, because it's very, very light snowflakes. Nothing heavy just yet. And it's about 30 degrees, which puts the air temperature down to the mid-20s likely. So where this is falling from is probably a lot colder. No, hence the reason we get snow. Now, when I get up to where I'll stop, after I lock this up, I'll cover the seat up with plastic so that it doesn't get wet. Yeah. And I went a little different way this time. This is down part of the John Dietrich bike trail, because I figured that this one might have a little more snow cover than being right next to 27th Street, which it is, And I guess that the animals don't think this is going to last long because I see a lot of squirrels out running around, and if there's a storm coming in, they usually hunker down and stay hidden out. Although I don't see a lot of birds out, but then I don't see that many birds backing through here anyway. I think I might have eaten a little too much. Ooh, for breakfast. Oh, oh, oh boy. But these uphill little grades sure can be quite taxing when it's chilly out. And there's a basketball that's been flattened by the cold. Yeah, fortunately, once I get up here where this stop sign's at, this will be downhill pretty much. Ooh, and got some snow buildup up here on the bike path, and even some on the street I see. But thus far, it hadn't been a lot. Morning. Nice, Scott. That was the kind of bike he was riding. So here's the back of this car. You can see on the windshield, on that rear window, that that's all the snow we've gotten thus far. And and like I said, we're going to be heading predominantly downhill, so maybe I won't be quite as winded. And I'm going to cut over this way and go a little different way. Simply because I know if I go to the bike trail the other way, hey, gee whiz, if I go to the bike trail the other way, there's a pretty good uphill push that I'm going to try to avoid. And there's a little bit more snow collecting on the street. And again, it's about 30 degrees out. Not anything that's overly bad. And thus far, this is far from insurmountable as far as snowfall goes. It's pretty easy to get around. And there I hear some birds. The birds aren't all hunkered down yet, so there's the storm aspect is not anything out of the ordinary. You gotta watch for cars at these intersections with no stop sign. Well, yeah, about 30, 28, between 28 and 30 degrees right now. And let's see, I'll pull up here and stop again to see if you guys can see the snow, because it's gotten a little bit slightly heavier, but it's still just flurries. That aren't they're not heavy at all. Now this used to be, this little area down in through here used to be a pretty big industrial area. They made Cushman scooters here for many, many, many years. And that property has long since been sold, and the main factory building is gone. I'm gonna have to try that coffee place one of these days. Not today. So, gee whiz, what's on your agenda for the day? Anything good? Or are you just hanging out? Mm. Yeah, this whole right over there, that's where the old Cushman factory used to be. And they tried for a long, long time to save the buildings. I don't know if any of it was sold or what became of it. But I think the last, in the early 90s maybe, that they finally closed the Cushman plant down. And the building sat empty for a long time. And then the powers that be decided to tear it down, and I'm guessing that the university ended up with the property, like they did with a lot of the properties around here. The old Whittier Junior High School which is right here on my immediate left right now, is a research facility for the University of Nebraska now. But it closed as a junior high back in the late 70s or early 80s. Can't remember exactly which. About the time that all these businesses and older buildings were shutting down because of asbestos being used in them. And this one supposedly, I don't know for sure, but from all the reports and everything, the asbestos here was used in the walls and in the ceiling and even in some of the paint. So for it to be cost effective as a junior high, that just wasn't going to happen back then. So even that building sat empty and dormant for years. And I guess the university finally decided, hey, it's going to be worth it just to pretty much gut the entire building and redo it. But they did manage to get that building registered on the National Historical Register, whatever thingy. And they had to leave the outside of the building pretty much in the pristine nature that it is. And that's because this was the first, one of the first, if not the first, junior high schools that was built specifically for use in the black community at the time. I don't know if it is the first or one of the first, but that's a little bit of the history of that. And it was predominantly a black school up until all the integration things took place back in the mid 60s into the 70s. Beautiful building. Look it up on Google Maps. Whittier Junior High School on Vine Street, Lincoln, Nebraska. It's a good looking building. I don't know what kind of style they call it. You know, Renaissance, Art Deco, whatever. I don't know what they call it. Yeah, I just think it's a nice building. And I'm sure if those walls could talk, they have a lot of stories to tell. Well, thanks, Gee Whiz. I try to, when I'm doing these streams like this, I try to bring a little bit of history as far as, you know, my understanding of it goes. Now, when the weather gets a little warmer, I'm going to do a series on the bike trail that's right up here. It's on my right now. You can't really see too much. I'll get up here and I'll get the camera swung around and point it down here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. And this is Antelope Creek that runs through Lincoln. And what a lot of people don't know is most of this for many, many years was inside a culvert. And it ran from quite a ways up on behind me all the way down to the south by one of the high schools where it came out, and all this was underground. And then there was a story where they had forgotten about where the culvert ran. They weren't sure where they ran any longer. So there was evidently some construction workers were working on a building someplace, and the culvert collapsed under them. And from that point forward, they started searching back because they knew that the infrastructure for this particular underground culvert was probably going bad, and they were concerned with buildings collapsing. So they decided to, they bought up a bunch of properties. Some of it went to the university, some of it went to this park, instead of taking the chance of people getting hurt. And they turned it into this bike trail, part of the bike trail system. And when spring gets here, I'll do a longer video and do a little series about this, because that's quite interesting. And I'll delve into it a little bit more and that'll go as a video on my other channel and not particularly this one. I just jumped on here to kill a little bit of time on the way down to my appointment. And it's not bad. I don't even have my my stocking cap on. Temperature-wise, it's not too bad. Like I said, it's 28 to 30 degrees, cold enough to snow. Cold enough to snow. But my fingers and toes are not turning into ice cubes. And that's always a plus. It's not fun when that happens. And here's what they mean by bridge freezes before road surface. There's the snow. This part of the sidewalk is colder than the rest. So I'm going to get up here and I'm going to end this stream and head over to my appointment. And we'll catch you guys later. Have a good one.